everybody, and welcome along to One Hub Racing Season 18, the final round of the season. We are here at Interlagos, a track where it's had many changeable conditions in this tier before last season and during the season as well. Hopefully, for the position tier's sake, they don't see any rain tonight. And yes, we are covering the position tier tonight because both of the commentators are not here. My name is Jess, and joining me, as per usual, for one final time, but in a different tier, is Indecisive, also known as Matt. How you doing?
I'm very looking forward to this. I'm great. It's great to be here in a different box, but I'm always excited for Brazil, and to get to call two champions in 2 weeks is pretty awesome. So thanks for having me here, and I'm looking forward to this one.
I'm looking forward to this one as well. It's hosted many title deciders in the past, 2006, 2007, 2019, 2012. Remember the Isaac Glock moment back in 2008. We saw Lewis Hamilton win his first title. Jenson Button won his first title in 2009. And Sao Paulo, 4.3 kilometres long, 15 turns, 5 to the left, 10 to the right, 2 DRS zones, 1 at the start, finish straight, and 1 after turn 3 at the centre races. We'll talk a bit more about the track in a minute, as we've got, for one final time this season, we've got the permutations to go through, and there's still 4 drivers mathematically that can win the championship. That's Danestar, Chris, Scorpion, and potentially Thomas. But Scorpion will need everyone else to DNF for him to stay in the fight, so that's why he's not on there. But technically, it's 3. Matt, I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, thank you. So, keep it simpler than the Pinnacle one a few weeks ago. If Danestar finishes 7th or higher with the fastest lap, then Danestar wins the championship. Danestar finishes 7th with no fastest lap, then Chris has to win to clinch it. Tom is then eliminated. Same as if Dane finishes 8th, Chris needs to win. If Danestar finishes 9th, Chris must win or finish 2nd with the fastest lap to clinch it. Tom is also eliminated in that case. If Danestar finishes 10th, Chris needs to finish 2nd to clinch it. Tom is eliminated in that case. And if Danestar finishes 11th, Chris needs to finish 2nd still to clinch the title. But if Danestar finishes 12th, Chris must finish 2nd or 3rd with the fastest lap. Tom must win with the fastest lap to clinch the championship. And if Danestar doesn't score, Chris must finish 3rd. Tom must win to clinch the championship. So there's all the permutations, and it's coming down to the wire.
Yes, it is, and to be honest, the commentators were very lucky to cover this tier all season, because it was, to be honest, very close to watch, because we both watched it as part of our roles at One Hub Racing as well, so we were aware of what's been happening so far, and I have to say, quite a lot of people were leading the championship at one point as well, which we'll go through quickly now. We'll go through the results from last week later, as there was no stream last week. Dry qualifying at the moment. You can't see it on stream, but it's a dry qualifying. So, Danestar, your current championship leader, 116 points. A 13-point gap over second place Chris in the Ferrari. Ferrari did win the Constructors' title last time out, so big congratulations to them. Only Thomas got 3rd place in the driver standings, and we had Scorpion in 4th. Verheyen in 5th. He is now mathematically out of the title after his DNF last week. Rimpey in 6th, Lukey in 7th, Kieran in 8th, Vitinho in 9th, Nick in 10th, and we got Riley Byes in 11th, Corey 12th, White Fountain 13th, Sam 14th, Salty Bear 15th, Kian 16th, Latsky, I can't even say his name, in 7th. It reminds me of Netsky, but it's not Netsky. Sonny Bob in 18th, Pricey in 19th, and 96. We only have 19 drivers on the grid, and we'll look at the Constructors quickly. As you can see, Ferrari are gold. That means they've won the Constructors. And I believe also Mercedes have also clinched 2nd in the Constructors as well. So well done to Mercedes, but still 3rd place to be decided between Alfa Romeo and Racing Point. Alfa Romeo 112, Racing Point on 98. Haas with 5th on 95, Red Bull 6th, 83, McLaren 7th, 69, AlphaTauri 8th, 59, 9th, Williams on 36, and Renault in last place with 30 points. Bit of a contrast to the Pinnacle tier, where Renault have won the Constructors' title. So Renault not doing so well here, of course, but hopefully they can get a good result tonight. Only 13 drivers, though. A big commitment, because there is a certain thing on at 8 p.m. tonight, which I don't have a clue what it is. And I'm glad you decided to watch the stream tonight rather than watch Euro 2020. But Yes, it is a dry quali. Both the Ferraris you can see are working together at the moment, and they've been celebrating the Constructors' win for a long time now. There's plenty of people that can win the championship. What do you like so much about Brazil?
It's you just go back through the annals of history. So many champions are seen celebrated around Brazil. It's such a famous, iconic track, and so many memories of champions celebrating around there. And of course, from Euphoria, you have Massa's heartbreak when he lost by a point because Hamilton won it back in the final corner, as you mentioned earlier. But yeah, it's just, I don't know what it is about this track, but I love it here, and I can be 2 laps down and still be having a great time when I'm racing. Luckily, I wasn't 2 laps down tonight, but I'll watch Prospect after we finished here, of course. But I just love this place. It's brilliant.
Yeah, and I think a few people were asked in the pre-race interviews about some classic real-life battles around this magnificent track. Will you be adding one to the library of one Hunt Racing? Quite a lot of people said yes, with Dane Starr not being able to give too much away on how he's going to be driving tomorrow. But Chris, though, on the other hand, was saying, who knows? He doesn't know what could happen around this track, and he's kept a little bit of an open mind for this race because he knows he could still win the championship, even though it's likely that Dane Starr is going to win it, but you never know what could happen, of course. Lukey is hoping for some good racing. Tom was asked, I would love to have one last good battle for the season. Going to be an entertaining race no matter what. Nick says hopefully, although I know we're allowed to make jolts to the left or right when on the straight, so I'll be looking to use that move to keep position. We've seen that quite a few times in the points tier earlier on in the full wet conditions. Luckily it's not full wet at the moment, and if you look to the chat you kind of know what to expect for the weather. We don't usually get clues for the weather. It's going to be a dry start to the race with a bit of rain towards the end, so kind of the opposite to what we saw in Prospect tonight.
Yeah, complete mirror image. In fact, we started in the wet and got drier, but I'm just on board with ERT Nick here, and while I'm on board with him, I will go through a couple of his press conference and drivers conference answers. The season for him has been okay, tougher than last season due to a lack of time for proper practice due to his work schedule, which is fair enough. And then he's never a disappointing season to forget. There's always something to learn, and he can expect Dane Starr to be crowned a double champion tonight. That's what he said, so let's see if that happens.
Yeah, Brazil is a track where Nick has performed really, really well. It was a dry to wet race last season, where we saw Nick actually won that race due to Bryn, who's in the chat. Hello Bryn, how are you doing? Hope you're having a good evening so far. Lost out on penalties due to a safety car, so yeah, expect Nick to do very well and expect the position qualifying to be very, very close as well. We've got Lukey as he heads towards the final part of Sector 3, heading towards Jungsao, which a few people can lose it there, but you get blinded a bit heading towards the final corner. Don't be surprised if a few people lose it as you head towards the pit lane, but Lukey seems to be alright at the moment as he heads towards the line. And what could he come across? 107.1. These are benchmark times at the moment. Dane Starr P2 on a 7 medium, so that's very, very good as well. And only 3 drivers will have 3 choice of tyres, so will some people that are not in the championship fight might start outside the top 10 on purpose? We'll have to wait and see, as only Thomas just about to start his lap. An outside chance of him winning the championship tonight, but it's shown in precision, anything can happen, so he just can't give up. He's had a few wins so far. He's had 1 win so far this season, I believe. Let me just have a look at the standings. He's had 1 win this season, 3 podiums, and 1 drive of the day. So nothing. Don't rule him out just yet, even though he needs Chris and Dane Starr to retire for him to have a realistic chance. But still, second place is up for grabs for him.
Yeah, he'll definitely be buoyed by that performance, that second is still possible, and technically first is still possible as well, but that's going to need a monumental turnaround for him, but never say never, because you never know what's about to happen, as I'm just watching Lukey improve to second place. Wow. That is a brilliant lap from him, and he was talking about that in his pre-race conferences, that it's been a tough season in one respect, because his second half has been a lot better than his first, and he's picked up pace as the season's gone on. As you can see there, he's popped it in second place, although he's just been beaten by by Chris and Tom are there, so that's definitely something that he's been working on. And although he's not going to be happy towards the end of the race, because he did put that he hates rain and it's scheduled to rain, so that might ruin his evening somewhat, but still a great performance from him now.
Yes, I think everybody else, apart from, I would say, Nick and Lukey, when they were asked about the changeable conditions, they wouldn't mind it. So that's Dane, Scorpion, I think when he saw the weather forecast in the game, he was like, oh yes, and he's playing, technically, he's playing wingman to Chris at this moment in time, so obviously Chris is the best chance apart from Dane Star to win the championship, so I think Scorpion will be happy about that. Rimpey, I think, is happy as well. And Chris asked, whatever the conditions are, be prepared. And you've got to be prepared to have both a dry and wet setup. So those two are going to be doing a course. And, you know, they're going to probably maybe use the hard tyres more often around this track as well, because you never know when the rain will come. Tomo is in pole position right now, 106.7. Expect times to be in the 106s tonight. So I think we're almost in the pole range, I think, for this tier, as Kieran also did well last season around this track. It's heading towards Jungsow now. He's one of the two drivers to set a lap time. He's looking good so far. Low on the OS though, so he may come in. No, he's not coming in. Heads towards the final corner. Shortest one to the line, 106.8, which puts him in P3. So the track is evolving. Times are getting quicker.
Yes, it certainly is. And even though it's early in the session, that will still help them towards the end of the session. But he's there, as you've just mentioned. I would like to say that he is hoping for rain. So that's going to annoy Lukey as well, that someone wants it to rain here, but it's still very tricky, and he's had a season to forget largely, but he's hoping to end on a high, so that will be good to see. Daystar improves at the top of the leaderboards there, 106.6, and if he can stay in first place for the majority of the race, then we all know what that means.
Yes, indeed, as well. So we're getting confused with the Taz at the moment, because Sonny has got the wrong number. Or it might be me forgetting to change. I don't know, but we will. If you select Sonny Bob in Taz in the bot, then it will come up as Lukey 2 or whatever it is. So just a heads up, by the way, if you're wondering about that. And speaking of Taz, you could use for the last time this season the Taz system by typing in !help. It also gives you live championship positions as they stand if they are in a certain position in the race. So it will help you with your maths and our maths as well, think on where people would finish and in the championship, which I think is quite nice as well. Dane Star though is on a lap. No, he's not on a lap as he's going into the pits. Quite a lot of people are going into the pits right now. Nick's on a lap though. He's 9th for the moment. Can he do one better? 6th position for him. Does the Mercedes driver. They won the Constructors last season, but they haven't won it this season. I'm sure Nick won't be too worried right now. He wants his teammate Dane Star to win it, so I'm sure the second drivers of the Ferrari and Mercedes teams will be putting in a lot of effort to help their teammates, but I'm sure they want some good results as well tonight, as a Salty Bear went on four laps on the sauce, which I don't get why he's doing that, but for Heynen, he's just probably going to have a race to have fun, to be honest, because he can't win the championship, but he could climb up quite a few positions. Let's see where he finishes. 7th position for now, so tight. I'm just checking the times now, Matt. They're just so close between the top 11 right now. 6/10 per second.
Yeah, that's probably equivalent to just holding your breath for an extra millisecond down the straight just to make your car a little bit quicker. But Verhanen could have been in the fight today if he hadn't have had such a wretched time last week. But you mentioned Salty Bear doing multiple laps. I think maybe he's been doing a heavy fuel load, so he'll be naturally slower, but he will be back out there, and presumably he will improve on fresher tyres for the race. So that's what some drivers are doing over in Prospect, but I think that's what he could have been doing just to get final preparations pretty much perfect. But yeah, I have no idea who's going to win today, and that is the beauty of this, is you never really know, and it's brilliant to find out.
Yeah, it is brilliant to find out, to be honest, as well. And, it's been so close all season with this tier as well. And the commentators have just been so lucky, not knowing each race who's going to win it. Dane Starr's just been on it pretty much most of the races. He's been very, very consistent as well. That's why he's in the championship. Chris, the last few races, has been quite consistent as well. He won the race last week before the stewards, but Dane Starr got his penalty removed. I forgot what penalty he actually got last week in the game, but he got his penalty removed, so that's why Danestar actually won that race. More about that when we talk about the results later on as well, as White Fountain is having some connection issues. Hopefully he would be able to join back very, very soon, as 5 minutes and 50 seconds left to go, as Kieran is just about to start his lap 2. Not nice and early as well. Quite commonplace to invalidate is around the centre S's. If you don't get a good run into turn 1, you're probably more than likely to run wide in turn 2 and 3 in the centre S, and you will invalidate your lap right there. So plenty of mistakes, of course, and obviously we got the turn 4 common overtaking spot, and obviously turn 5, a little kick into turn 6. Some people go side by side in the S's, heading towards turn 6, 7 and 8, so which we're seeing quite a few times in Prospect this evening. Not sure about the other tiers, because obviously it was soaking it down. I think it's a full wet race there, so we shall see, of course. But times are starting to tumble here at this moment in time. More people will be taking risks, because it's the final race on F1 2020. No more races after this one, and plenty of positions to gain in the championship, even though they may not be top of it. They may want to go for their best position ever in One Hub Racing, so we'll see what happens.
Yep, I can testify to that, because that's exactly what I was trying to do earlier, just get the strongest result I possibly could today, which turned out to be pretty handy. So I was more than happy with that, and I think some of the drivers here will be looking to utilise that to their advantage as well. It's just incredible that all the times there are so minuscule. Look at that, you've got Nick's on 107.0, as is Vahanen, Fountain, Scorpion on 107.0. That is just ridiculously close, and it's even closer still. And I think we haven't seen anything just yet.
I know, it's just absolutely insane. Most people are in the pits at the moment, apart from Nick. So I wouldn't be surprised if Nick gives Danestar a tow later on in the qualifying session, because that's why he's out early, most likely, to do that. I think he saw the rivals of Ferrari, Chris and Scorpion, do it earlier, and I won't be surprised if they do it again as well. So quick reminder of what the results were last season. So we saw Nick win the race last season. Scorpion hadn't finished in second, and I talked about Kieran earlier. He had his best result last season in this track here in 3rd position. So 3 members of this tier obviously did well last season. So obviously Nick, who won last season, is in P7 in qualifying at the moment. Where is he going to qualify now, as this could potentially be his final lap? P6. Scorpion Hunt only 10th fastest at the moment. Kieran P7. So we could see a completely different order later on in pretty much at the end of the race potentially as well. It's just so open, as Sonny Bob is on a lap as well, as he heads towards the final bit of the S's section. Quite tidy at the moment as they head towards turn 9 and 10. Very easy to lose it once again. A bit of an understeering moment as well, I found, around this circuit. A few people tend to spin. That's why we saw TJW spin quite a few times in Prospect. That's what ended up his retirement in the Prospect here earlier on. But anyway, Sonny Bub comes towards the line now. He's last at the moment. He's eager to score more points than he has this season. He's joined midway through the season as well. So let's see what he could do. Comes across the line, 106.9, P8 for him.
Yeah, it's always difficult when you join a league mid-season, or if you're new to a league or you come back, and it's always tough to catch up. But I think from what I've seen of him, he's equipped himself quite well, and he's been unlucky on maybe not to score more points. But if he can just follow that up in the race, then maybe he's going to have a very memorable season finale here. But while I've just got a few moments on, yeah, you mentioned earlier Scorpion Hunt can't win the title. It's true, he did put that in his answers. He said not even on countback, but there is one way he could win it, but that's not going to happen. So I mean, if everyone gets the dreaded DSQ from the season, but that's not going to happen, so that's his only way to win the title. But it's good that he still knows that it's a very small possibility, but he's always aware of that, so it's always good to see drivers thinking about what could happen next.
Yeah, exactly. You got to think on your feet as well. I think there was a question in the pre-race interviews a few races ago, I think, talking about changing strategies on the fly as well. And I think it's important that you've got to do that as well, because you never know when there could be a safety car, or even though they could say there's rain at the end, Cody's may throw a spanner in the works and said, oh, there'll be rain in the middle potentially as well. You never know what could happen. So, and typical that the top three in the championship right now are the top three in the qualifying, and that just shows why they deserve to be there as well. Wimpey doing well, Lukey as well. I don't think... Oh, Nick's just come out the pits. Yeah, I'm almost certain Nick's going to be given a tow. Look, here he is, and look who's behind. Danestar. So I'm excited to see how that's going to work out for them. Are the Ferraris closer together? Yes, they are. Look at this. Chris right on... Oh, no! Chris is invalidated! I wonder if Scorpion Hunters realised that Chris is invalidated his lap time. That is so annoying. That was, I think, through the center S's, which we were talking about earlier. So that gives Thomas a really good chance to gain a tenth that he needs to maybe get second or even pole position. But what a shame. I don't think Chris is going to go out again, though. We'll see who else is about to finish a lap. We got Danestar, who is he's slowing down. He's not going to make it. He's not going to make it, and he's going into the pits. So I'm guessing he was happy with his lap time, and I think he must have saw that Chris invalidated, so he's not giving up. Let's see what Thomas doing, because Thomas, we'll see how he does in Sector 2. He's going to be the only man that can stop them from getting pole position, but we're going to watch Scorpion Hunt as he comes towards the line. Can he get inside the top 10 and maybe in the top 5? He stays 11th, but he does get free choice of tyres, though. Vitinho in the pit, so he's not going to get a best lap. So let's watch our main championship contender. Only Thomas, I think he was a few tenths down, unfortunately, and he's slowing down, so he's not going to get pole position, sadly. Rimpey has, unfortunately, invalidated. White Fountain, he's looking much quicker. 2 tenths up on Sector 2, so we'll see where that puts. Now we'll put him, I think, where Nick is actually. 6th position for White Fountain. That is very good. But on pole position is Danestar. So massive congratulations to him. I'm going to see actually how many poles he's actually got this season. He's got... it doesn't say on our standings graphic, which is annoying, but we'll check on the standings. But it's definitely not his first pole. So great start for our championship leader at the moment.
Yep, definitely a good sign. He's definitely possibly going to be up there for one of the contenders to win the pair of sim racing gloves as well, which we'll get to in a moment between sessions. But it's just something that I'm sure he would have thought about, and that's probably why he found a little bit more 82,000 there. Look, but I'll hand back on to Jess so she can give you the official starting order.
We don't even have to scroll down this week. This is all good. This is great. So, Danestar is on pole by 8/100th of a second to Chris. Only Thomas in 3rd. Lukey in 4th position for Hayden in 5th. White Fountain in 6th. Kieran in 7th. Wimpey 8th. Nick in 9th. Vitinho in 10th. They will have to start on the soft tyres because they qualified on the softs. Sonny Bob in 11th. Scorpion Hunt 12th. And our Salty Bear in 30th position. The whole grid separated by 9/10 of a second. We'll go through your results from last week, as there was no stream last week. We saw Danestar took the win last week. Chris got 2nd. Scorpion Hunt finished in 3rd, which helped Ferrari get the Constructors title. Only Thomas finished 4th. Riley Byes finished 5th. He's not here tonight, though. Nick finished 6th. Lukey 7th. Kieran 8th. White Fountain 9th. Vitinho 10th, Asoi Bear 11th for Hayden in 12th. Fastest lap inside the top 10 went to White Fountain, outside the top 10 went to Salty Bear, and obviously pole position was Danestar, and there was no driver of the day. So it's time for one final time for you anyway to go through our sponsors and partners and collaborators. Let's go.
Yep, thank you. Before I say that, thank you to every one of these people I'm about to say. It's been awesome, and we couldn't do any of this without you. But we have Liam RBS, who sponsors all of the trophies. Thank you for that. And we have Next Level Racing, who are sponsoring the Simlight rig for the winner of the One-Up Racing giveaway, as Lukey readies up first, so no naughty engines.
Woo!
And you have Vespertine is our partner over there, and they do awesome stuff, and thank you to them. And Time to Win 3D discount, 20% off if you enter the code One-Up Racing. And this week's track is Brazil. I might get myself one of them, even though I didn't win. And you have 3M, a winner of the gloves for the winner of the most fastest lap award and most pole positions throughout the league. And the final one is the ERT Go and Get Stuff award. Same as last season, all the drivers have to attend all races and complete all their media obligations, which could be just a standard pre-race conference or drivers' press conference or call for rivalries or something like that. And for ERT, that's an awesome job that they do, so thank you to them. And back to Jess for the duration of this formation lap.
Yes, and the difference for the Go and Get Tough award this season, we've got 2 winners this season. We just had 1 for the last 2. We've got 2 as well, so that is good to say the least. It could go from any tier. And as far as I'm aware, I think I looked at the spreadsheet. I think I'm not counting the ones that will finish in the top 3 because they're still in the list. Because obviously we still got to work out the top 3 for some of the tiers. I think it's around about 11 drivers still in the list for the Go and Get Tough award, which is pretty good. I think there's a few people still in this tier as well that could be in the running, which is always a great thing to see as well. Oh, let me just count actually. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12. So I was 1 out anyway. So yeah, very, very good to see some people in this tier still in the chance to win the money from ERT, of course. Looking at the tyres outside the top 10, only Scorpion Hunt is doing the alternate strategy. Not really that surprised, as you can do a double soft stint. You can do soft, medium, soft. It is doable. That's what we saw most people do in the tiers below as well. I think we saw it in podium tier as well. We'll keep an eye on the tyres as well. The softs are the C3s, mediums are C2s, hards are the C1s. The softs can last 16 laps, mediums 19, hards 24 laps. And don't forget, there is going to be rain towards the end of the race. How much rain is going to fall, we don't know. Action zones turn 1 and 2, turn 4 and turn 14. That's going to be the main ones to watch out for as well. So we'll see as everyone is going to cross the line to start the final race of One Hub Racing and the final stream of One Hub Racing in season 18 in terms of races, because obviously no Pinnacle tier this week, because unfortunately they did not get the numbers to race. So this is the final tier of the night. So the position does get the prime time slot this time, even though quite a few people won't be watching it tonight. They'll be watching it tomorrow, but we'll see. Anyway, for the final time this season, and for the final time in One Hub, the 5 red lights are on. And we are underway. Daystar gets a very good start. Chris has dropped back a little bit, heading towards turn 1 actually, but Chris may chance have a cutback. He does not, but look at the racing point of Ali Tama. He's had a good start towards the center S's though. Couldn't quite make it stick so far. We have got a timing tower of terror at the moment, so we can't see who has done well and who has done rubbish, but everyone has made it clean, which is good news. We do see an Albertario Bertino making up some ground as well. He's going to try and go on the inside of Kieran into turn 4. Brilliant stuff from Bertino. Kieran has dropped a little bit into 9, but Salty Bear as well had a good start. He's up into 10th position. Good if you have Salty Bear in your fantasy team as well. So many battles happening at the front as well. We've got Bahrain, I think, up into 6th position. It's just insane what's going on right now. White found it up into 4th right now. The top 3 pretty much stay where they are right now. Danestar keeps the lead.
Yes, he does. I was just watching the midfield there, and Nick and Scorpion Hunt went wheel to wheel around turn 3 and 4, so that was a pretty good battle. But and then Nick got a little bit squirrely on the exit behind Salty Bear as he made a move as well. So very good stuff in the early going, and if it's going to be like this for the next 36 laps, it's going to be a very memorable race indeed.
Yeah, it's already memorable so far as well. As Solly Bob, I think, was the only driver to have a bit of damage, unfortunately. So he comes in, or it may be strategic call, which I don't know why he would go into the pits right now, but maybe he wants to get his stop out of the way. Maybe put on a bit of hard. Nope, he's got damage. So he's going on to 7 means he will probably have to pit again because there's no rain. The rain's going to come soon, really, to be honest. But you never know. So we'll see if Sonny's gamble pays off while he had to pit anyway. So his race is pretty much already ruined, unless other people's races could be ruined as well, but obviously not right now. Interestingly, in qualifying as well, not the person who actually qualified on pole did not have the fastest in any sector, I don't think. He only had fast in one sector, so that was great to see how it was so close. So he was fast in the final sector, Tomo was fast in second, and Lukey was fast in the first. So different interesting facts there, but we'll see. Chris has already dropped a bit from Danestar. He's out of DRS range, and that is good news for Thomas in terms of the championship, because even though P1 may be out of the question for Thomas, P2 is definitely not, and he's going to do all he can to try and get past Chris in the Ferrari, of course. And don't forget, the top 3 in the Drivers' Championship do get some prizes at the end of the season, which is what you want to aim for, you want to strive for, as well as, you know, as quite a few people could be chasing down for it, but we should see what happens.
Yeah, it's certainly going on what Tom thinks in the pre-race. It's certainly going to be a final. It'll have one last battle, but it's definitely going to be a tense one for the top 3 to find out who's going to win those prizes. And he's currently in there. In fact, the top 3 of the championship are the top 3 of the race in that order. I can't remember the last time I saw that in any tier, but it's been a while. It's good to see the consistency of all these 3 people in the early stages, at least. And I just want to make a quick note that Rimpe has had a solid season himself, and he will definitely just try his best today, and he knows it's possible to try and get the top 6 and top 3 in the team, so we'll keep an eye on that situation as it unfolds. But for now, Danestar's doing everything he needs to do.
Yes, Danestar and Chris were actually called into the rivalries earlier on in the week, actually, obviously, because they were both championship contenders, so why not? Dane was asked, your challengers have left it late, you must be feeling like he has all the momentum. How do you plan on stopping him pipping you to the trophy? Dane thinks the media's got it the wrong way around. He was like 30-40 points behind heading into round 4. He won the past 4 races in a row, so I don't think he's the one with the momentum. He thinks he's the one with the momentum, which is fair doing. Underestimation has been a weakness of mine over the past few seasons, so I won't make that same mistake again. I plan to win the race as well as the championship. Don't forget, he was a commentator last season, and he's just come in after season break, and him to win the title, if he does, that'll just be insane for him. And Chris was asked, you must be feeling great after the win last week, even though it got removed due to Danestar's penalty removal. Would you be able to use it to your advantage? I did not win the race, unfortunately. It felt like a win considering we got our constructors title. The odds are massively against me today to win the championship, but who knows? Maybe they could be a surprise, as we just talked about, as White Fountain has had a bit of an off in the final corner, which is not good. We got Verheyen, who was cold in the media day thing, in the hot and cold, has got past Lukey up into P4, so he is proving that he definitely did not deserve to be in the cold for now, as only Thomas, he just got past Chris into P2. There's just so much battling happening in the space of a corner right now. Thomas' momentum is looking very, very good so far. I may have jinxed Chris a little bit there. Sorry, Chris.
Well, at least it wasn't me this time, so I'm sure he'll thank me for that later. But it's, yeah, you have no idea how tense it could be for some of these drivers out there trying to secure a trophy. Obviously, Danestar's probably the most relaxed out of the 3 because he knows he doesn't have to win the title. He wants to, but he doesn't have to, and that's where the permutations come in. He could finish all the way down in 7th and still win, so the pressure's definitely off him today, but he's driving like he's got a point to prove, and right now he is dominating this race and controlling it very nicely indeed.
Yeah, Danestar, I think, is driving like his life depends on it, because he's driving like the way Netsky would drive in the Pinnacle tier. Like, he wants to win the race, he wants to get the championship on the top step of the podium, just like Lewis Hamilton. I mean, he's just loving life at the moment. But Thomas wants to win this race as well. He's only had 1 race win this season. You never know what could happen. So, Thomas, I think he's got to find a attempt to get within DRS range, which is not impossible, to say the least, for Thomas, but we'll see what happens as Scorpion Hunt. Speaking of penalties, he's got his first time penalty of the session. The first one out of all the drivers. He's on the mediums, though. He's also got a point to prove, as he's having a nice battle with Nick as well. 2 management members going head-to-head so far. The wingmans of the championship contenders as well. And it's typical that, obviously, Danestar's leading Chris at the moment. Nick's leading Scorpion, so it's probably showing that Mercedes are having the upper hand in terms of points today, even though obviously Ferrari have won the constructors. Mercedes have got to see if they can, well, they have confirmed second in the constructors, I believe, as well, as we confirmed last time out. As Scorpion, though, it's looking like he's got a good straight line speed over Nick, even though his ERS is on 0% right now, We'll see what he could do as Nick closes the door there, as Kieran and Patino were also having a nice battle as well. Scorpion closed the door, got the switchback actually on Nick, but Nick's going to come and fight back. They touch a little bit, not much space given, but huge respect from both of them. Heading towards turn 4 now, Nick gets the switchback of dreams. He's up into P8, brilliant stuff from him. Kieran stays P6 over Patino right now as well. Can Scorpion go for the lunge into turn 6? Nope, he does not. But he's just ever so close. You can go side by side if you're brave enough, which they're not going to right now. They're just so even on pace right now. Scorpion, I would say if he was on the softs, he probably would have been where I would say Kieran and Patino are right now. So he's doing pretty well. But don't cut him out for the win of the race, because he's going to be on 2 sets of softs at the end of his first stint, which will be pretty good, and he's going to be fast for the rest of the race as Danestar goes into the pits early for him, but obviously it's a 2-stop race at One Hub Racing. It's not a 1-stop. Getting his stop nice and early is crucial. So here we go then, Danestar on to a set of mediums then, and a majority of the other soft runners have decided to follow Danestar's lead and come in. That's for Haynen, Lukey, Patino has come in as well. Kieran has gone on the hards. Now, knowing that there's going to be rain at the end of the race, maybe it could work and the rain could fall down hard, but we've seen some situations where the rain just doesn't fall hard enough. Remember Prospect last week? It was raining at the end of the race, but it just didn't fall down at the right time and heavy enough for it to warrant a change onto the intermediate tyres. So I wonder, has Kieran made a mistake, or has he made the gamble of dreams? Well, we'll find out when the rain comes, because we know the rain's going to come. It's just a question of when it's going to be towards the end, or if it's going to be right in the middle, because you never know with Cody's. But there's no sign of rain at the moment because it's completely sunny, no clouds in the sky. So I don't know what the drivers are thinking, but there we go.
Yeah, it was a brilliant move from sorry, words can't come out. I'm so excited. Yeah, Nick got a little bit deep into turn 1 with his previous move with Scorpion there, but a couple of laps ago he was on the soft, so he could brake a bit later, but went deep, so that gave Scorpion the opportunity to get past, and then Nick had the soft, so he could do the switchback a little bit later on in the lap. But on the point of putting the hards on for Kieran there, yeah, I guess it's the right call to make. I would have probably done the same thing if opportunity presented itself to me earlier, knowing the rain may or may not come. Hards is definitely a good choice to be on right now, because softs, he'd have to pit again anyway. Mediums, he has to pit again. You know, he has to pit again, but if he's on the hards, that means he doesn't have to go. Potentially, he could get caught out with 2 pit stops to make, where he could only do 1 now. If it started to rain in, say, 10 laps time, or 12 laps time, let's say, and he's on the hard, so he can go straight to the rains and put the inters on, whereas if you put on fresh softs a little bit before the rain comes, then you have to make another stop, so he could gain a lot of ground doing this, so keep an eye on him later on.
Yeah, indeed. I think Kieran's going to be slow at the moment because he's got Patino on fresh softs. I believe he was the one that started on the mediums, or did he start on softs? I will double check in a second. Meanwhile, Thomas, he's pitted really late onto another set of soft tyres, so some people going for a different strategy. Where's Danestar in all this? It's going to be very, very tight. We've got White Fountain in front. Danestar is comfortably ahead, but only just, as Danestar tries to get past some traffic as well, which is going to be difficult. Chris on freshest mediums though, but his tyres are going to be so cold, it's going to be hard to warm up as well. Tomo's just going to pull away. So for some drivers, they're going to hope the rain's going to come sooner, like Tomo, and for Kieran, they're going to hope that the rain's going to come a bit later. So for one person, it's going to be like, oh yeah, it's the gamble's worked. For one person, it's going to be like, uh-oh, the gamble does not work. So we'll see, as Tomo, though, is right close to the back of Danestar. White Fountain being in front is not helping Danestar at all. Danestar knows that he is quicker than White Fountain, and Tomo knows he can possibly get past him if Danestar is being held up. Danestar is probably thinking, White Fountain, move out of the way. You still got to pit. Will White Fountain think about pitting? We shall see. He does think about pitting. Thank goodness, says Danestar. He can concentrate on the task in hand, but is it too little, too late? We'll find out. Tomo heading towards turn 1. He can't get past right now, but he's got Chris and Haynen all over the back of it. We did see a look up from Lukey there as well. Fair play to Lukey with the results he has had so far in this race. And it is taking a while for the Taz to update as we got Tomer and Danestar going side by side into turn 4 and in towards turn 5. He's going to get a better run towards turn 6 and he does then. Tomer gets to lead the race once again. Superb stuff. Danestar probably didn't fight that one too much, even though he did a little bit, because he knows that even if he finishes second, he still wins the championship. But I know he wants to still fight for the win anyway. But Tomer, absolutely superb move. He made it look easy. Chris, though, he saw that Danestar was a bit vulnerable. Could Chris get past Danestar?
Well, he might be able to, but I think Danestar's not fighting as hard as he would earlier in the season, knowing that he could afford to finish 7th, still win the title. In fact, he could technically win the title if he finishes 12th, because that means Chris has to get 2nd or 3rd and Tomer needs to win, and if neither of those things happen, then he could finish lower down. But yeah, you would like to win the race, but if you can't, make sure you don't crash yourself out. And I'm pretty sure Danestar's just taking what I like to call the Alan Prost approach, just doing what he needs to do in order to maintain his lead in the championship, which is perfectly legitimate and it's a good way to race. He's using his head, he's being smart, and that is paying off right now with his comfortable position in this race. But Nick's still out there on the soft tyres, but he will be pitting shortly because the tyres will start to fall off a cliff if he's not too careful, because you know that he's done some laps in qualifying on these as well. So I'd be surprised if he goes another lap, but at the same time I wouldn't be that surprised knowing Nick and his tyre conservation. I'm going to keep an eye on this one, but the battle with Scorpion Hun's been pretty much since turn 1 of the first lap. Them two are still together on track and he has not pitted, so yeah, there we go. But Scorpion's got the run into turn 1. Who's going to be late on the brakes to get it done? Who's got the inside line? A little bit of contact, but I think they both get away with that. And Scorpion just does a switch back, similar to what he did a few laps ago when I was last with you. But Nick is trying to do the switch back again, but he can't quite find a way through. So Scorpion now has the lead of this race, but as you mentioned earlier, it's not the net lead because they've yet to make a stop.
The only 2 drivers to make a stop. I won't be surprised if these 2 hold on just for a little bit longer, knowing that they can get the next lot of tyres up until the rain period, and then they have to pit for inters. But like we said, it may not be enough for inters. You never know, so the gamble could not pay off for these 2. We will see. We're already seeing only Tomer almost catching up to the back of these 2, and he's leading Danestar by 1.1 seconds, which is incredible right now as well. We're looking at the tyres for the likes of Nick and Scorpion Hun, because I want to see how well they're actually coping with their tyres. So let me just have a look. 40%, 43, 39, 44 for Scorpion. Nick's actually doing worse on the soft, actually, but obviously since it's a higher compound, of course he would, as Scorpion is still your race leader. But fair enough, Nick. He's still going for the move, even though he's on much worn tyres compared to Scorpion. He's on the right-hand side, heading towards turn 4. Bravo, son. He's now your race leader on track, at least, anyway. But his rear right is not doing really well. 60%. He's almost in puncher territory. 55 the rear left as well. The rears are not doing very well, and the front is starting to get in that 7th position as well. Yellow flag. That is White Fountain, who's had another spin by looks of things. He's down into last place of this race, which is a bit of a shame for the AlphaTauri driver, but we'll see what Scorpion can do as he heads towards Zheng Sao. Could he get back? I'm sure Scorpion has the tyre advantage compared to Nick, so surely this is advantage Scorpion, but Nick's doing very well to defend on this, so we'll have to find out. This is round 3 then of the battle. I believe Nick comes in, so Scorpion did not have to fight this one too much, but I wonder if Scorpion should have come in and followed him in. We will see. But Nick is going on to another set of the softs, and he knows he will have to do a medium set if it's not drying, well, not wetting up for inters. So we will see. So Nick will be in 10th place, and don't forget, only 13 runners. If one person retires, everybody else will be able to score points. So that'll be good news. That's how I benefited for getting points. Everyone else retired, and I scored some decent points, even though I was gutted with my position. So there we go. So still some great battles still to be had on track. Different strategies as well. And we can see Thomas take not just the net race lead, but the 4 race lead. As Scorpion Hum will be pitting soon. And I think only Thomas going to catch him very soon as well. So Scorpion, if you haven't pitted already, why haven't you? You need to pit.
Yeah, you can go a little bit further on fresh mediums, as I was constantly in communication with my teammate about how tyres were feeling and how far the softs could go towards the end of the race. But I think Scorpion's got about 3 laps left on these tyres before he'll entertain at least 1 set of softs, maybe 2, depending on when the rain comes. It might not come now, because as you mentioned earlier, you know what cold is like. If it's scheduled to rain, doesn't mean that it necessarily will. But it's been a bit of a struggle for White Fountain towards the back, but he's still out there, and he's a few seconds behind the next car, so hopefully he'll be able to keep the momentum up. And you have Tom and Scorpion Hunt pretty much side by side together coming around the corner, and they almost had contact there, but Tom has not given up easily. Scorpion Hunt on the harder tyres will probably pit if he can't find a way past Tom in the next couple of laps, certainly maybe this lap. But it's a great battle to see, and Danestar's just got a little bit of a bird's eye view of this, thinking, I'm having a great race here. I'm looking at this, and he must be loving his position right now. I tell you, I'm loving this battle with all these drivers, and it's fantastic.
To be honest, thank you very much, Nick, for giving us both the chance to commentate on this tier this week, because otherwise we wouldn't have any tier to commentate on. It's been really, really fun. Brazil always brings out a bit of battling, drama, some controversy at times, but it's mainly a lot of battles, I have to say, whether you're racing or commentating. So thanks to the drivers putting on the show every week for not just this tier, but for every single tier at One Hub. Like, without the drivers, obviously there'll be no racing. Kieran could see that Bettino is running out of ERS, but Kieran is running out of ERS as well. They're pretty much on the same, so it's pretty much even Stevens as well. I'm keeping an eye on the gaps. Chris could be closing up to Danestar once again, and even though if Chris could get past Danestar, it will still not be enough, as Danestar would have needed to finish 7th or something. But you never know, there could be a safety car. The sun is just so blinded when you head towards turn 4. A few mistakes could be had here. Heading towards turn 6 and 7 now. Bettino just having the fair edge right now as well. Nick nowhere near Scorpion None as well. Scorpion staying out once again. So not a move I would have done, but he probably is not seeing something that we're not. As oh, look at this. Look at this. It's Scorpion playing the team game. Chris is right behind Danestar.
No, he's making a pit stop is what's going on there. But this is quite incredible. Like, you have team games to play, of course, and they have good number 2 drivers to try and secure their driver getting the best result. There's a yellow flag somewhere. Just let me try and find out who that's for. Salty Bear's had an incident. How much damage has he got? Let's have a look. He doesn't seem to have any. I think he may just lost it on his own and had a bit of a spin, similar to Senna back in when he first started joining the Williams in 1994, when Brazil was the first or second round of the season before it became the traditional season ender, and then they invented Abu Dhabi for that. But yeah, I'm glad you're not racing there this week. But it's Salty Bear is still trying to get on this. I'm on the back of Sonny Bob now, who's got a couple of cars behind him. White Fountain, Salty Bear, and Sonny are all fighting for the final point, perhaps. And White Fountain is on the better tyres for now. He's on the longer lasting tyres, I should say, but Salty Bear is on the best tyres, is on the fresher softs, but they will start to drop off in the next few laps, so keep an eye on that situation. But this is going swimmingly for the championship leaders. I'm not going to mention them by names because I wouldn't want to be the Maury Walker effect on them, as Chris forces his way through, does he?
Oh, contact!
That's close.
Contact, no! Contact from our 2 championship contenders. If this race has gone crazy enough, I don't know what. Did they just go for a move on the inside that it just did not work? When we thought that Danestar has got the championship comfortably, all of a sudden, Danestar could be under threat. I will just remind you of the championship permutations. If I'm just trying to see where Thomas will be into it. it's mainly Thomas must win with fastest lap if Dane Star only finishes 12th. So Dane Star's still in this. Actually no, Chris must win if Dane Star finishes 7th. So Dane Star mathematically is still winning this. So Dane Star probably did not want this to happen. This is not what he wanted. This giving only Thomas a lot of breathing space. He's probably thinking, I wasn't expecting this to happen. He can run away with this so far. And he has a probably comfortable buffer in the pit stops as well. And as you can see, the clouds are starting to get a bit darker. It's coming over at the moment. It's not as sunny as it was at the start of the race. Scorpion does get fastest lap inside the 10 at the moment. A Salty Bear goes into the pits. I believe that's for his second stop. Did he get damaged or something? He must have. Or did he not know that there's rain coming? I don't think he knows there's rain. Or maybe he thinks there's no damage. So maybe he thinks that the rain is not going to come down hard enough. If that happens, that could be a gamble worth playing. But so we got Tom on the softs. We got Nick on the softs. Scorpion on the softs. And we got Kieran on the hards. And Salty Bears on the mediums to the end. We've got a mixture of strategies. Nick will have to pit one more time. We know that. But he thinks it's going to rain. Scorpion, I believe, doesn't need to pit again. No, he does not. Actually does, because he needs to stop one more time. Let me just have a look on stops. So the only people that don't need to pit is Sonny Bob and Salty Bear. So imagine if these two actually go and win a podium. That would be insane. Anyway, Coutinho comes in. He thinks the rain's not going to come down hard enough. He goes on to a set of mediums. For some people, they're treating as if the rain is not going to come hard enough, which, to be honest, I don't know what's going to happen, to be honest. So we'll have to find out which gamble is paying off and which is not. We will see, of course, as Thomas still leads for Heynen after only finishing 12th last week, is in second. This is redemption from him after being the cold driver from last week. A quick reminder on why he was cold. Was in this fine tour, wretched race last time, classified as 12th, so just a 1 point. I've been overhauled by 3 other drivers in that fight. The old saying, there's never a good time for a bad result. This is magnified with everyone else finishing in France. So there we go. And Scorpion Hun got the hot driver for last week. He's in 9th for the moment, so he's not quite hot this week, but he's not quite cold either. So he's running a mediocre race, and he's still onto the back, and he's had a bit of a slide. I think I jinxed him. Sorry. Aziva Hannon, I jinxed him. As he goes and has a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane, and he comes in for another set of memes. So the 5 seconds will be added to the end of his race, unless the safety car. If there was a safety car, if I were you, I would serve you 5 seconds stop go. That will be out of the way there and then. You can also pit as well for fresh tyres. Boom. But we'll see what happens as we're almost on the final third of this race and the final bit of F1 2020 as a whole.
Yeah, it certainly flies by around this track, doesn't it, as Vitinho picks up a 3-second time penalty, but Chris and Dane Star went at it side by side. I'm not really sure what happened. I think he was on the inside and couldn't really back out because he had a good line, but I think he may have been in the blind spot and a little bit of contact. Chris did get a little bit of damage, but he's managing to pick it up. But on the subject of rain, you can never assume that rain is coming. You have to make the strategy calls that you make it on the assumption that it will stay dry, because you can't assume anything. So you have to plan as if it's not going to rain. You don't think about it. You just make stops when you feel the best time to do them is. And some of these drivers may well pay dividends in a few laps if it does start to rain. As you said a few laps ago, the clouds are coming over and they are looking more and more grey as the laps go on. So this could be a very exciting end to this season and, in fact, this race. So keep us up to date as we can, but this is fantastic.
This is brilliant. Chris, I believe, has picked up a bit of damage, or he got help from the pits, I don't know, as he comes out. So I'm almost certain that's Chris's hopes over, which is a bit of a shame because he would have liked it, but you never know. It's getting more menacing out there. He's probably going to hope that everybody else needs to also make one more stop or retire or something like that. Vitinho comes in to the pits. He's struggling out there at the moment. It'll be a miracle if he finishes high up in the standings today as well, which is a bit of a shame, but still anything can happen, like we said. lap 23 of 36, about to be lap 24 soon as Tom across the line. We got Lukey, who's doing very well in third on the road right now. He's looking to get past Rimpe. The two Alfa Romeos flying side by side. They can score quite high in the constructors, but they can't really afford to take each other out. Remember, Belgium, Esteban Ocon, Sergio Perez. Not going to say anything more. We'll see then. Is Lukey going to get the better run into turn 4? Rimpe may close the door. He does close the door. And I don't think Lukey was quite close enough either. Meanwhile, Danestar is thinking, hang on, I could still be with a chance of getting P2 here. Or maybe he's thinking, I've got a championship to win. I can't afford to make a mistake like I did earlier with Chris. If I make another mistake, that could be my championship hopes over. So, Danestar, he's going to do all he can to try and just, maybe he may just be staying put. If he stays put, he wins the title. That's the end of the story for Danestar. So he's just playing it safe at the moment, which is fair enough. It's getting really dark, so it may come a little bit earlier than expected. That's bad news for Kieran, in a way, because he had to make 2 stops. Bad news for Verheyen, Chris as well, because the ones on the mediums, they must be loving life right now. This has just opened a whole different story in terms of people gaining position and lose position. The Salty Bear just picks up a 3-second time penalty as well, which is not good. Could Lukey get the position again on his teammate? No, he does not. I have to give Dry the day so far to Rimpe. He is flying right now as he's loving life in near the front of the standings right now. It's the driver that you weren't expecting to be P2. If you got him in the fantasy, you'll probably be very, very happy about that. As we do have a yellow flag, that is a Salty Bear, who is unfortunately, I think, going to end his season on a low, sadly. And he may be forced to retire. I think he is going to retire. Just look at, yeah, he's probably going to retire from the race, which is a bit of a shame. Good news, though, if you're Coutinho, though, who's in P12, you could get a point if you finish. So that'll be good for him. As, yeah, it's now overcast here in Brazil. I think the rain's coming, so they've got to be prepared.
Yes, they certainly do, as Taz officially informs us that the air temperature is now 20 degrees with a track of 27. We have about 11 or 10 laps to go. As you say, it is now officially overcast. So, yeah, got to see Salty Bear manage to recover to the pits, but didn't retire. He just left the session, so maybe he just rage quit on that. I don't know, but it's a shame that the season finale is setting like that for some drivers, but Verheyen there, I keep wanting to say Verheyen from a few seasons ago, but it's tricky not to say the first bit, but yeah, he's just picked up a 3-second time penalty for track limit infringements, and there's a yellow flag that's for a red
Scorpion. That's Scorpion.
Yeah.
He could be if it was another week, he could be a cold driver the way this is looking, because he's dropped way down the order as well. This is Ferrari. Wait. Is it raining? No, it's not raining. But it is starting to get slippier. So that's probably why Scorpion is struggling a little bit. Yeah, it is Ferrari disaster class, unfortunately, for both of these drivers. As Coutinho has left the session. That is not good. Hopefully he could join quickly, as his... Oh, no. His AI is pitting for him.
No, he was in the pit lane, sped into the pit lane and left. I think he was embarrassed by speeding into the pit lane there. But it's unfortunate, but it could well be, but it has started to rain now. It came earlier than I was expecting it to, but I'm not surprised given there's going to be a few laps of just finding your feet, and there's going to be an Inter's finish by the look of it. It is raining now officially, so let's just see what everyone can do. And unfortunately for Kieran, that's a great gamble he's taken. He's got up to 5th place, and he's in a great position to potentially get a podium at the end of this, depending on if you put the Inters on at the right time, which is always a very, very tricky thing to know when to do it. If you're out of sequence, you might go an extra lap that you shouldn't have, or you might go too early. It's going to be tricky, but one thing's for sure is this is just got really, really exciting.
I'm excited about this already. The championship finale is going to be rain thrown into the mix, just like we saw in Brazil last season, even though it wasn't the championship finale. I have to say, don't forget, I'm not trying to jinx anything here. Kieran, it was raining towards the end. He took a similar gamble. He finished P3. could we see something similar here? We shall find out, as Patino unfortunately has been lapped. Meanwhile, Lukey's looking very, very good for P2. He's looking very comfortable in the wet conditions, well, the changeable conditions right now, even though he said he absolutely hates it. But look at Danestar, he's in his element right now. He could potentially get P2 out of all of this, despite the mistake he made earlier as well. Even though there could be some trouble with the stewards, but I don't think that's going to change the championship, unfortunately. I think Danestar will still win no matter what happens, because Tomo would have to get fastest lap. But we'll find out, of course, as people are starting to struggle, I think, near the back as well. So I think it's a race for attrition as well for the last few laps. It may not rain enough, but we will see. The Salty Bears are lap down as well, but at least he's still going. That's the whole point of the Going Gets Tough award, to never give up when the going gets tough. As that's not good for the Rain Merchant of Brazil to lead the session like that.
Yeah, it's not good, but I'm just trying to... the Alfa Romeo boys are going to have a tremendous problem if it does rain heavy enough, because they'll either have to double stack or gamble going an extra lap, and one of them is going to lose out big time. But for now, they are running comfortably in second and third, but Thomas' tyres may well explode. He's 18 laps on the soft, so that is credit to him. That's bravery to run them this long. But in the slightly cooler conditions, it's now 27 degrees on track. I think it's just dropped a couple of degrees since the rain's been falling, but it's not yet heavy enough for it to really impact anything. But it's still 20 degrees air temperature as well, so that is something that only Taz can tell us. So that is a really good tool and useful to have as we are approaching the final 7 or 8 laps now. And I don't know, it's not wet enough yet to pit, but Tom may have to, because I don't think his tyres are going to last much longer. So he's in a whole world of problems. But Danestar is just comfortable.
I think the two Alphas are comfortable as well. And Danestar too. Kieran as well. Verheyen could be back in this race as well. It literally could be anyone's game. I have a feeling I know why Nick has left the session. He did say to me he was having power issues yesterday. He did warn me that he was going to get some power issues today as well. So unfortunately, that may have been the reason to his disconnection. So a bit of a shame, but and he can't help his teammate. But Thomas has gone for the gamble and pitted early. And Nick's AI has gone for the mediums. Okay, that is interesting. I won't be surprised if Nick doesn't rejoin after that. But look at Danestar though. Danestar just feels at home right now. Danestar is always the king of the changeable conditions compared to the Alfa Romeos, but Lukey could be on for his best result in a while. When was the last time Lukey got a One Hub Racing win? I will have to double check that. I'm not going to say anything more though, because Lukey will probably scream at me if I jinx him. Meanwhile, Danestar gets the move towards Jung Sao, and he does it by the looks of it. He does. Wow, absolutely fantastic. Netsky made a champion's move like that in France in Pinnacle. Danestar did exactly the same in precision. My oh my. That is an example of a champion. Rimpe goes into the pit lane. Is he going to gamble for Inters? We will have to wait and see, of course, because obviously you can't double stack on this game. It's just not worth it. And we will see as Rimpe does go on to intermediate tyres. I'm not sure if it's enough though. It's still slippery in some places, but it's still dry in some places. So we'll see how Lukey does as well in terms of, and Danestar, if they slip. I don't know who's going to win. And yeah, I can confirm it was a power cut. It was his power. So I was right. Yep. So unfortunate for Nick there, but at least I was warned before the race today that it could happen, but it's just a shame. But anyway, we still got a huge battle for the win. Could it be Lukey? Could it be Danestar? Or could it be Toma on Rimpe? We'll find out. It's not Toma, and he's had a bit of a spin. So, yeah. I think, I'm almost certain, unless Danestar has a bottle, I think that's Danestar Championship confirmed.
I wouldn't say that at this point, because it's getting very tricky out there, slippery and everything, but as you say, Danestar likes the changeable conditions. As I said at the top of the race, Lukey doesn't like the rain at all. It is now raining, so Lukey may well tumble down the order through no fault of his own, but he's had a solid drive today, and he's always consistent with his pace, and he's always deserving more points than he's perhaps got. I said that when he was in the Pinnacle tier last season, and it seems that trend has continued, but he's still out there and he's still going, which is awesome to see. But I'm really not sure that the Inters are anywhere near the right tyre to be on, but it's tricky to know without being out there. I haven't seen DRS disabled just yet, but it may not be far away.
Lukey's ahead of Rimpe. Lukey's ahead of Rimpe and Tomo, who obviously spun as well. So if it's still slippy for Lukey, you never know what could happen. Danestar and Kieran are going to hope for an absolute miracle, because I'm checking the tyre life right now of the tyres. Taz is very crucial for checking stuff like this. 73%, 78, 68, 77 for Danestar. Kieran, 70, 76, 59, 66. Kieran comes in. Danestar comes in. Verheyen stays out. Obviously, Verheyen, he could do the unthinkable. He could, if the race doesn't come down hard enough, and if he pulls off a masterclass, he could win this race. Same with Chris as well, because obviously they pitted quite late, so that could be, even though Chris may not do enough to get the win of the Drivers' Championship, we will see what happens. Of course, we don't know what's gonna happen as Danestar's on the softs.
That's surprising. Like I say, it's tricky to know what tyres to be on. It's raining, but it doesn't look like it's enough to be Inter's tyres, but Inter's look like they are working for some of the drivers as well, so it's very much a crossover point, I guess you could call it. But Chris is doing everything he needs to do to try and win the title. If he can win the race, which he needs to do, yes, he needs to win if Danestar's any lower than seventh or lower. But if Danestar is 9th or lower, then he can finish where he is now, 2nd. So it's going down to the wire, and I've got to say, this has been quite an incredible race so far, and the ending is going to be spectacular.
What is the Euros? What is the Euros? Come on, I think this is better than the Euros, I have to say. And for anyone watching the Euros at the same time, do not spoil the results, please, on what's going on. Meanwhile, Sonny Bob, where's Sonny Bob come from? He could be on for some good points as well in 8th, despite the penalties that he has got so far. But Rimpe, I think I could tell that the Inters are quicker than the medias right now. Chris is now your race leader. Danestar up to 3rd, so the softs, that could be the best decision of his life for Danestar. If the rain falls down a bit more, this could be disaster class for the Mercedes driver, and it could be curtains for championship. So Whiteout could be on for his good result as well. Scorpion is back up into 5th. We just don't know. We just don't know what's going to happen at this moment. Make sure you stay tuned in for the final few laps of F1 2020 Season 18 of One Up Racing. We've had great races across all 5 tiers this season, and this is about to wrap everything up. And Chris could be on for a miracle race victory, despite him colliding with Danestar early on in the race. That's just insane.
It is quite insane, but we mentioned Lewis Hamilton on Glock in the very early stages of our broadcast today. Didn't think we would be commentating on a race that could well resemble that, but the rain is still coming. It's pretty much like it was then for Lewis back in 2008, and he passed someone in the last corner of the last lap. Could we see a repeat coming? There's only one way to find out, and in the next 2 minutes or so we will find out if that is indeed the case.
Yeah, indeed. 1.5 lap to go. Whiteout's in the pit, so I wonder if the Inters is not the right decision. We'll find out in due course. We'll not check penalties because we want to keep it as unpredictable as possible. We could see Ferrari turning from a disaster class to a strategy masterclass in a way, with the way this is doing. I don't think the rain, like we said, is falling down hard enough at the moment. I'm just seeing if everyone's done 2 stops. Has everyone done 2 stops? Yes, everyone has done 2 stops. We're all good on that front. Final lap of this race. Chris leads from Verheyen. Chris is doing what he needs to do to secure the championship, but it's not going to be enough for him at the moment because Danestar's in third. Scorpion Hunt in fourth position, may drop down quite a bit, I would say, due to Kieran almost being with that in that window to potentially get fourth place. So almost one position off his previous best as well. But I'm going to shut up because I crowned the champion last week. And I'm going to hand it over to you to crown it this week.
Yeah, it's been a great race, and it's been a pleasure to call 2 championship battles back to back with you. It's been amazing. But Chris is in control of this race, and he is approaching the final few corners to do what he needs to do to win the championship. But of course, we'll have to wait and see. But very much behind him is a very low on fuel Mercedes, but I'm sure he'll be okay. I'm going to cross the line.
Lukey's out.
Lukey's out of the race. That's a shame. Luckily, he wasn't one of the 3 title contenders, but Chris is around Young Hao now, and he's going to come towards the line. Chris will win this race. Vahanen will finish the line second place, but Danestar will come around the final corner. There comes Young Hao, and Danestar comes towards the line, and in just a few seconds, there he is. Danestar is the champion. Danestar has done enough. And that is how you do that. He's had the Champions Drive today, much like we saw last week with Netski. It's another Scandinavian in the Mercedes pulling it off at the last, and Kieran crashes across the line.
Wow, but at least he still finishes though in fifth,
Yep.
which is all. And Sonny Bob, fair play to Sonny Bob. He's got his best result of the season. In 6th position.
Yeah.
Well done to him. I need to check where... I need to actually check where he started before this race. He was... he's gained 3 positions after that tonight in the drivers. So, fair play to Sonny Bob there. And Scorpion Hunt getting driver of the day. That's going to have a few things to think about in terms of driver of the day, of course. So I do believe Lukey will still be classified because Salty Bear and Vitinha are a lap down. So Lukey will still get points, I believe.
He will get 2 points for that.
Yeah, he still will get 2 points. So for Lukey, he would have got more, but unfortunately, there we go. So that is a wrap, ladies and gentlemen. Chris wins. He did what he needed to do. He also got the fastest lap as well. He almost did the hat trick, but Danestar got pole. So Chris first, Verheyen second. What a comeback from these 2 drivers. Danestar in third, and that confirms him being the drivers' champion of season 18 for Precision. Scorpion in fourth, Kieran fifth, Sonny Bob in sixth, Right Fountain seventh, Nick, I think he'll still remain eighth, I'm not entirely sure. Rempe ninth, Tomat, unfortunate with that spin. I'll see what that does to the championship in terms of P3. Lukey 11th, and then we got Vitinha in 12th, and unfortunately it was Salty Bear 13th, a lap down as well. It's Chris's first victory of the season, 4th podium for Verheyen, 6th podium for Danestar. That is just absolutely incredible. We'll go through the final championship results. Don't forget there may still be stewards' inquiries to go through, so take that with a pinch of salt. I'm just seeing if the Taz has updated the driver standings. Yes, they did. So all good. Right. So Danestar 130 points to Chris's 124. So the gap between these two was around 6 points. That's what it came down to. If there was one more race, it could have gone down to the wire. Verheyen, after Thomas binning, Verheyen's got the final prize for the runners-up. So due to Toma binning it on the last few laps, Verheyen's got the final prize. So well done to him. Scorpion just misses out as well by 2 points on 107 on 4th. Only Toma 5th, 100. Rempe 6th on 64. 7th, Lukey 52. Kieran 8th on 50. Nick 9th on 44. Vitinha 10th on 40. And we have Riley Byes, Right Fountain, Corey Sam. Sonny Bob 15th place after I think he was last or something. So fair play to him. Salty Bear 16th, Kian 17th, Latsky 18th, and Pricey only at 1 point. So now it's time for the final driver of the days this season. And I'll start with you, Matt. Who's your driver of the day and what would you like to ask him?
as usual, there are some standout candidates in this tier as well, as I always say every week in Pinnacle, but this tier is no exception to that rule. But yeah, I think I'm going to have to do what I did last time, and I'm going to have to give it to Dane Star, because it would be remiss not to mention the Drivers' Champion as Driver of the Day, who the question I'd like to ask him was, after your early incident and your early adversity, were you always confident that you could still do enough to win the championship, or were you really on edge when the rain started to come as well?
Yeah, I think that's what I think. I'm not surprised that you picked the champion this week, so it is to be expected, not gonna lie. So I'm looking at the results as well. I was torn between Scorpion for having a good comeback, but you know what? I was not expecting this person to score well tonight. And I have to give it to Sonny Bob for finishing 6th place tonight after a fantastic performance. I was not expecting that at all. He was, I think, almost last in the championship after tonight, and now he's finishing in 15th position. My question is, I need to actually try and think of a question now. It's going to be so difficult with all the chaos going on in the final few laps. Were you expecting to get your best result in 100 Racing history? And a big well done to you. So that's it then for 100 Racing Season 18 overall, and across all 5 tiers. And a massive well done to all of our drivers and constructors champions. Obviously, we crowned Ferrari last week in the position tier. I would like to say thank you to all the drivers in position tier in particular for giving all the commentators who had a chance to commentate on this tier some races to remember. Thank you to Liam and Storm for being your main commentators for Precision this season, as well as Lenny and Tom, and all the other reserves for joining in Precision. I think it was Alex that joined at one point as well, so thank you to them. Also, thank you to Lukey for being a fantastic host in Precision tier. Done a remarkable job. Brilliant stuff as well. Thank you very much to him, as well as Nick and Scorpion for helping in the last few races, host and inviting the lobbies. Thanks to, obviously, T-Bo for sorting out Taz every week. Without you, we wouldn't have the amazing data. Thank you very much. And thank you to you guys for watching, because without you guys, there'll be no stream. So thank you very much as well. And also, for in terms of us, in terms of commentary duo as well, thank you to Matt as well for joining me in the commentary box for majority of the time for Pinnacle, but for this time in Precision, of course. It's been a pleasure sharing the box for you the whole season as well. It's been a lot of fun, and thank you very much for joining me, Matt. I've really enjoyed being in the box with you.
Yeah, it's okay. Thank you for having me as well. It's been an absolute pleasure every week to call the one-hub racing action across the various tiers that I've been involved with since I started here, and I think it's been a great season, and very fitting that it came down to the final race of the season. Even though I wasn't supposed to be here, I still got to call it, so thank you for the opportunity to management for that. It's been a pleasure, and I'm sure I can't wait to be back next season.
Yes, season 19 will be our next season on the new F1 2021 game, with a lot of damage models, I think, compared to, obviously, this game. So a lot of things to think about as well. So, and I do recommend you do sign up for next season. And there's also the sprint event that's going to be happening on, I need to actually check the times for that. I believe it's the 2nd and the 9th of July. Yes, I was right. Full qualifying session. And it's going to be like an F1 style race. 25% sprint race. No pit stop. Followed by a 50% race. The first race will be Spa. Second race will be Brazil. Should be a lot of fun. Make sure you join us then. And on Sunday, we will reveal the Going Gets Tough Award winner, as well as the pole position and fastest lap winners to win the Sim Racing gloves as well. And also the other draws that we have at 100 Racing. I've been Jess Games 95. Matt has been Indecisive Mackie. This has been 100 Racing. We hope you enjoy your long season break, because you guys definitely deserve it. And we now leave it for the man of the night, the man of the moment, Dane Star, your season 18 Precision Tier Drivers Champion. Congratulations. We will see you next season for the F1 2021 game cycle. Have a good evening. Goodbye.